Welcome.
Yep. Okay. Because you
Welcome.
you should kind of wait for like a signal of some kind, like that it's that it has started. I'll be like,
You did do a signal. You did a little.
yeah, but I didn't know if you caught
we're
it.
live.
It makes me think of the you know that video of that guy where he's in a video game and he's like, he's got like a gun in his hand, but he doesn't, and he like magically shows the gun. So he starts like this, his hands are open, then the gun appears, and he's like pointing at it, and it's like his solution to like, it's like, I guess it's like some kind of situation where someone says, "Oh, my boyfriend is like 6'6", and he's just like, gun, gun."
Yeah. So finger gun, and we're live, and welcome to the Battle Vision podcast with your host. It's been so long since I did this.
It's been too long, and I think we're gonna.
Harry now.
I feel like every fucking time almost every time that I do something, so this is like mainly when I'm recording a build showcase, I always say some shit like, "Oh, pretty soon the series is going to have to change because I'm running out of builds," and I just feel like there was a time when literally every video we were saying there was going to be some kind of change to how things were done, and I feel like that was supposed to stop when we got to the point where we only did one of these per week, or one main video per week. That would be podcast or miscellaneous, and then obviously it's kept going. You know, like I've cut out the spotlights, for example, just so I don't have to think about them. But now it's like the podcast isn't even every other week, and I think that is something that we kind of need to change. Maybe. I think we should, because I said even if there's nothing to talk about, that would be what we talk about. But even then, that's the excuse to actually do some topics like we used to. It wasn't always just about what's going on. We used to actually do actual topics like
The gold episode.
I was thinking of that. That's exactly what I was thinking of, and I didn't like the example because that's not what I meant. I mean, but I think they're going to get better because it's going to be things like the season 1 retrospective, for example, something like that, which I want to do before like the next update. I think would be pretty nice because I think there's something we want to do for a while. But you know, it's not like the series update retrospective. It would be the spiritual successor to that. Much to Tyler's dismay, but yeah, because I think I don't know if it has anything to do with why. I mean, personally, well, I think you personally believe that when we don't get too many views, it's because it's Deep Rock's fault. But I think more of a consistency in the grounds of the podcast could be good and hopefully appreciated by people because it means we're going to be more consistently putting out conversation about the game and also more reliably putting out the news as well, because no matter what, we'll always cover the news. So if they know it's going to be there at least every other week, whereas I think, you know, a couple times now we've gone like 1 week, you know, 1 week's podcast, then 2 weeks of miscellaneous stuff, and it's just like I think that is a bit silly. Personally, it's a bit foolish. Yeah.
So what's your plan then? I mean, I guess we should discuss this probably more later, but.
No, let's do it right now. Let's do like a behind the scenes meeting. Right. No, we should just do the podcast every other week. Not capped every other week, but the only reason we would do it 2 weeks in a row is for an emergency thing. And I think that's going to happen, by the way, because of the timeline that we've got. I think, because obviously this means there'll be a miscellaneous video next week, then a podcast the next week. But I think the week after that is when the anniversary stream will have happened. So we'll kind of be, you know, pigeonholed into doing a podcast anyway. But that would mean then it would be the next other week from that. So it would kind of work out in the sense that there wouldn't be 3 podcasts in a row. Just because we had to do an emergency one. It would sort of delay the next one a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know. It's not very useful when I run out of things to say, like in that kind of manner, where it's like I don't even know how to close off what I was saying. I literally just I just ran out of juice.
Words.
So I just stopped.
Like Twitter, you couldn't write any more words. I don't know why they do that. Why that's still a thing. Because people just make more posts.
You mean X?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
All right. If anyone actually calls it X, if anyone in your personal lives calls it X, hit them hard.
Yeah.
Twice. And that's it. Twice.
I think
hit them twice.
That's what they say. Right?
Give them
marks for spot.
Give them. And the spot is
It's,
the spot
if they
is
say X,
the spot is this
X where
eye and the other eye. The
goes.
spot is
Yeah.
the spot is eye one and eye
You do
two.
not support domestic abuse. If they're a woman, you're not allowed to hit
Oh
them.
my
But if it's
god.
a dude, it's your dad or something, or your son, if you're the dad.
There was that guy, just
Um,
some random rapper. He just I guess he just misconstrued the whole point. I think he just tweeted something like, "I support breast cancer," which I just like that
Thanks for
kind of
sharing.
really like. It's just like you've got the spirit,
That's what
but you
happens.
clearly have no idea. You clearly have no interest. You've just heard that breast cancer is something that is, or breast cancer research is something that the world doesn't shut the fuck up about. And it's like, oh, I better tweet something about breast cancer. I support it, I guess. It's like,
It's just inevitable when like every person is posting a thought like all the time.
yeah.
Eventually, someone's gonna have a really, really stupid thought.
People
And by
just need to learn
eventually,
to
it's probably
shut the
like 10 to
fuck
20
up, you know?
times
Maybe we need
every
to learn to shut the
second.
fuck up. I don't know.
We have a podcast, Harry. Like once you do that, you're kind of now on a pedestal where clearly we think our thoughts are worth saying. Whether or not that's true, it's not. Like the amount of people, even my own mum, is like everyone's making a podcast nowadays. Like no one cares what you think, and she has no idea that I record a podcast.
I know she's like,
I'm like,
it's
yeah,
so
Mum.
weird that you've just. Will you what would like cause you to? Oh, I was about to say, what would cause you to tell her? Would it be when we start making money? The last reason you tell your mum about the podcast, about the channel.
Yeah, she'll take it all. But I have no intentions of telling anyone other than my brother, essentially, because
Oh
I just
god.
like walking on him every so often. It's like, hey, it's
I-
800 subscribers. High five.
I've told everyone and they still have no fucking idea. That's what it is. That's what it's like. Especially my dad. He has no idea. And I've told him, Dad, I literally do a podcast. I have a YouTube channel, and he's just like, well, "What are you doing for like 2 hours every Saturday?" It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm
Luckily,
just joking it, I
you
guess.
got
I'm just...
yeah, just joking your peanuts. But yeah, I don't know. It's just fun, isn't it? Really, I think that's why the podcasts, they're the longest lasting videos, really, and especially the most consistent. Because I mean, this is what 75 now, wasn't it?
Yep, this is episode
This
75,
is
which I think,
podcast episode
yeah, it's an
75.
interesting number, isn't it? Well, actually, and I feel kind of bad about doing this now. I don't know if we can sort of keep the conversation afloat, because I'm thinking about when the first podcast was uploaded, because obviously it wasn't, the first thing. It wasn't the first video.
It's probably approaching about now. It was
Actually,
when we
the easiest
started
way would
learning
be to look
about
at it
the
as...
rivals.
Yeah, exactly. It's what I mean. Literally, the first episode, I think, was based on the teaser.
Robo
The
Ball.
very first Nemesis teaser, I think it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was season 2 that we started. Or no, it was just before season 2 is that we started uploading, which is kind of cool. And then we've.
Well, the
So yeah, I
oldest
don't know when that would be.
Barrelvision podcast number 1.
Yeah.
Oh, nice quality right there. Oh, it's on the 28th of March.
Yeah.
Oh, it's actually later than I thought.
Oh wow.
So we're still it's
right.
still not 2 years old yet. And then I thought this might have been the anniversary of the podcast, but obviously it's not. But also it would, even like when the actual Deep Rock anniversary hits. Hold on, because the Deep Rock anniversary is the 28th of February, I'm pretty sure. Which is a month before that. Also, I just realised that February 28th is literally the last day of February, which is kind of awkward. Which explains why last year it bled into March as well.
Not always.
What are you talking about?
Right? Isn't February? Is February that one where they get an extra day?
Yeah. Does it get an extra day this year? Let's have a look.
2020.
I've got the calendar on. Yeah.
I think so,
Yeah. It's a leap year. Whoa! Don't know what that means. I love a leap year. I really have no fucking clue. Like the calendar is it's just bullshit. It's just bullshit. So we can at least make it sensible bullshit. You know, the 13 months in a year thing where each one would be the exact same number of days. It would really give us an opportunity to reintroduce Spleguary, to the fold. My idea for new. I hate the fact that Sometimes it's a naming convention for them. You got like January, February, you got September, October, November, and December, all very similar, and it's just like March, April, May, June, July, then August. It's just fucking nonsense. I hate it. It's just
I know. I think August was because of Augustus. I know that he did that. I think
July was
another
because of
one's like that as
Julius.
well. Yeah, I think it was. So I know those Roman motherfuckers were the cause for those two, but the rest, who knows? But I think we've bantered on long enough of completely irrelevant things. There is so much to talk about on Deep Rock Galactic. Such an overwhelming, bountiful supply of information and that's other words along those things. And Harry, I don't like the
Oh,
look on your face.
sorry, I was just eating my fingernails and I started choking on one.
That's
What?
nice.
Well,
I was being sarcastic.
yeah, but it's like,
We still don't have anything.
yeah, but are we in a position to be rude about it or not? That's the greatest question that we have to ask ourselves to dictate the tone of this episode. It's whether we're not in position. And I would say, objectively speaking, no, we're not really in position to be rude about things. Although I do have some real serious queries about the fact that they have been so concerned about, or what we found out was that they really didn't like how during like when we were really in the thick of seasons, from like season 2 to season 4, I'd say, when they really felt tied down communication wise. But then supposedly the plan is to enter open development when season 5 goes into development, and I'm still not on board with the fact that they haven't actually become more communicative yet. And I know that the plan is to do that, so we have to wait for it to start, and they knew that it wouldn't start yet. But I think it should have started.
Why?
I'm still of the position that it should have started immediately, and they should just be constantly saying more than they are. Still, it's very
I
bizarre
assume at
because
the
it's
very
the
least,
reason why the game
very least,
stale as it is at the moment is the fact that they're just not saying very much, because we know that the updates are going to be in this weird sort of flux at the moment, and it's going to be like that pretty much forever. And I think that's the whole point. I don't see why we should be waiting for season 5 to get more information, because honestly, the teaser aspect of seasons was already pretty good. I'd rather see them get into more detail about like the other updates, like the next update, for example, not season 5. It's just a bit weird because it was clearly the lack of communication that they didn't like, and yet they're just waiting to start that rather than just getting on it immediately. There were like tasters of it with the below decks things, but it was like, well, there should be more of those as well than there have been as well. It should just have been at least one or two more, I'd say, since the last one by this point. So it just feels a bit weird, and obviously my mind could be completely changed once they actually start with that stuff. I still don't see why it shouldn't have started yet. It's just a bit weird to me.
Yeah, it felt like they were gonna, like ramp up, like try and get back to what they were during this time.
Yeah.
It feels like right now we're not doing it now because reason, but we'll do it later.
It feels weird
Like,
that they made the plan to turn things around rather than just turning things around. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
I don't quite get it. Although there are aspects of the anniversary, which I don't actually want to get into yet, but obviously like the idea of getting a roadmap and the fact that someone said it's probably just going to be a better roadmap than before. Things like that, which means that the anniversary is probably going to be when that more communicative side kicks off. But at the same time, it's almost like, I don't know, I tend to feel very it always just feels a bit wrong when I try to guess what they're doing, because they're so unpredictable, because I think even they can't really predict themselves, and I think that's a bit of an issue as well, that they kind of get carried away and things like that. But obviously, things have happened, though. Things that we know will happen, or things that we knew were going to happen, like the Lunar Festival, for example, even though that was actually slightly late. Quotes. The reason why it is in quotes is because it's actually on the 10th of February. It's today. The Lunar New Year. Chinese New Year is today. So, I guess.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah. So, it kind of makes sense for it to have been when it was, starting on the 1st of February, going through to the 14th. Which is why I didn't understand why in the post about it, Aaron said that he had influenza and was ill, and that's why it was late. Which obviously, I hope he's all right now. But it's like, it feels appropriately timed. I don't think it's actually late. I think it's kind of weird that was
Well,
even
the
brought up because it wasn't
announcement
late. But
the
then,
announcement was like 2 days before, right?
yeah, I
Like
think
it
that's
was
what it is.
like
I think that's actually what it was. I think that's the late aspect of it, and it's true because
yeah.
this is the thing about Deep Rock, and I think why they need to achieve what they're saying they're going to achieve in terms of communication, why that needs to actually happen. You know, even though if we're going to have to wait even longer for it to start, it needs to happen because at the moment, I think people are pretty edgy, right, about things and when they're happening. Because there was actually a little bit of doubt about whether or not the Lunar Festival was even going to happen because it was taking so long to be announced. And maybe that can be put down to Aaron being ill, but the fact that those notions were even out there, people sort of asking about it when they shouldn't have to because it's on the roadmap as something that's going to happen every year. I think that's kind of edginess that needs to be downplayed. I think they kind of just need to. It's not because the problem is you need to. If I were to say they need to announce what they're doing longer before it happens, it would be kind of hard to do that because so often they don't know exactly when things are going to happen. But that's not inherently the point. I mean, I would love to see them, more so not necessarily talk about, when the next update's going to happen, but I want to see them talk about something that they're doing for the next update. It doesn't have to. Not everything has to be an announcement of when something's going to happen for it to placate people's intrigue in the game. There's way more, plenty other methods to achieve that, and I think they're currently being left on the table, and it's annoying that we're going to have to wait and see if that's actually the approach they're going to take anyway, because we don't exactly know what this open development's going to look like once it starts up again, especially because they've been out of practice with open development for Deep Rock for so long, and the fact they're going to try and do it for a season for which they've been so secretive in the past is probably going to be weird. Probably going to be cool, but it's probably going to be weird.
After season 5 or for season 5?
For season 5.
So when they start working on season 5, which I guess has already occurred, because they have communicated more of what's going to be in season 5 than they ever normally have, right?
Yeah, but
we already know that
where is all that though?
All the priorities. Exactly. That's the thing, is that they do seem to have be more willing to disclose information they normally would have kept hush hush. But I put it this way: there's being hush hush. There's them not saying anything on stuff. Then there's the dev streams, and probably dev streams, which is them just kind of whispering it essentially. In the grand scheme of things, 200 plus people are listening, which is obviously 200 is a large amount. That's on both Twitch and YouTube, but in the grand scheme of the Deep Rock player base, that's really not much, right? We're talking 20,000 generally, right, and probably all platforms, daily. So it's kind of that's barely getting out there. Then next, you've basically.
But it's also
comments,
it's not.
Guess,
but
on,
the things that they're saying though, the things that they're saying though aren't quite set in stone enough to be put out there like that anyway.
Shouted is the final tier. That's the Steam page stuff, right? It's them shouting it, essentially, because that's as big as they can get, or pinning it on the. There will be a Steam post that they then pin on the Reddit and the Discord and all that stuff, right? That's them shouting something.
Yeah, because it's I wouldn't expect them to just make a Steam post literally just saying, "Oh, we're adding some new overclocks in season 5," right? Even though that we as far as we know, that is a lock, that is happening. But in the grand scheme of things, I would say barely anyone knows that still, even though that's been locked in for a couple months now as well. And I would say a minuscule amount of people, a majority of people, do not know that that's a thing. And I guess the idea is, what would it make sense for everyone to know though? Because what's going to happen then? All of a sudden, people are going to be. It's just going to be a barrage of ideas and concepts, even though they're all locked in already. I'm pretty sure because it's just drawn from prototypes that they've had in development for a really long time. So we're not going to have any influence. People aren't going to have any influence on it. So I think they'd rather just duck that. They duck the discussion until they're ready to show them. And I just
Yeah,
It's a
but
bit
that's
odd.
wrong, and
It's
I don't
wrong.
think that's what they're doing. I think they're just not thinking about it. Yeah, it's wrong because you know what Deep Hook needs more than anything right now. With them not adding content, what can they do as a replacement? Conversation, right? People aren't talking about Deep Hook anymore because what's there to talk about, right? Like, there's a reason why we like, we're talking about stuff that they're not talking about right now, right? Like, a lot of channels, and it's not just this reason, but I assume you know about Explorian, right?
Oh well, I mean,
AKA
yes, but
ERG Historian.
he's been
Like,
wanting to do that for a while though. Um,
I know, but it's kind of it's another example. He's not the only one. Many other Deep Rock YouTubers have been leaving vaguely, right? They still want to cover Deep Rock, but they don't want to be trapped within Deep Rock. And there's a reason for it. Is because there's nothing to fucking talk about or like make content on, right? The game hasn't added anything for a while, except for obviously the thingy, which for like many other like Deep Book YouTubers, that was the last time we heard of them, right? The maintenance patch was the last thing that they've like posted for like quite a few of them. But like so what can you do then, right? Because they can't add anything. They're working on Road Core and they have planned stuff they're adding like later on, right? Which is what's the next thing? Is going to be the anniversary stuff, right? And then the maintenance.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly. And
yeah. So
I guess
they can't add anything until then, right? And they're going to. So what can they do? And it's that. It is prodding the community, saying, "Hey, we're making new overclocks. We already have a lot in mind, but yeah." And then like people will be like, "Oh, I have overclock ideas," and then we're gonna post a link to our giant fucking video series of them, and like
yeah,
stuff like that, and it will get
that's gonna
people
make a
talking
comeback
again.
of sorts. I'm pretty sure. It depends on what they show. I mean, I would assume that they're probably not going to show uh very much, or if anything, from season 5 during the anniversary, because obviously that's not even the next update. But given how um long certain ideas have been like in um I guess in the ghost ship like internal zeitgeist of like new overclocks or a new mission type, these things that are being worked on for season 5, even if they're not 100%. I mean, I think that's probably definitely jumping ahead here, but that's probably my main expectation for what information we could get on season 5 during anniversary is just locking in what's going to be in it, not showing us necessarily, but at least knowing, it's like someone said there'd be a more detailed roadmap, and I would say, I mean, obviously that's probably going to be dedicated a bit more to the next update
Just
rather
someone on the
than
stream and
rather.
not just a random commenter. Um,
Yes, so this is a ghost
is
ship person. This is not a random
Yeah.
commenter.
Okay.
And what I would expect from a more detailed roadmap would be to more focused on the next update rather than season 5. But for season 5, should at least have like a little bit more than we used to get for the season roadmaps, even then, because they were so fucking vague. And I feel like that should at least include the overclock thing, which we already know about, but also whether or not what they're getting in terms of either a new mission type or a biome, because I think it's beyond safe to say one of those things is happening in season 5, and so they should be in a position by then at least to be able to say that, and then possibly even because we know they've been prototyping it, they should be able to show like little teasers and things, especially if they're planning on developing season 5 openly. Like, this is almost, I guess it almost sounds a little bit greedy, but based on what they've been saying, frankly, they should be in a position to be able to just sort of just throw stuff out there that they've been working on, even if it doesn't look finished. Like really weird, like
I
early
think
teasers, like obscure,
they
like kind of obscure teasers, even. But I still think that kind of thing would just
a
really tantalize people. I want to see season 5 teasers before the next maintenance update. Is what I'm saying.
yeah, I think a below decks on making the overclocks is like
They're like
phenomenally like
Journey, because they were like they're prototypes that have been around since like season 1. I'm pretty sure.
exactly. That's what it will probably show. It will show like probably the first concept of it, right? Like what we originally saw with the new weapons, right? Where it was just a different weapons, like there was no new designs, it was just gameplay, right?
Yeah.
It'll be show like something like that. And then they'll like show the steps, like it'll be recordings of it all the way along, and then it will show like the final result of a overclock we're going to be getting in season 5. Something like that, I can very much see being a below the decks post,
Below
which
the
we would get
decks.
either like mid like teaser season or hopefully just before teaser season, well like while they're still working on it but they're not really, don't many finished um But like something like that would be cool. But I don't know. I think we can expect like a fair amount from this anniversary. I think with we should learn a fair amount of season 5 within like probably one of the best roadmaps we'll ever see. But I would also hope that the maintenance update is given the fucking respect it deserves.
Yeah.
That instead of like in the last streams where they didn't even bring them up, right? Like in the fucking the stream at the end of last year,
Even
they just didn't think
I
to talk about
think
the maintenance
though,
update.
I think there's an aspect of that update. The first one got a little bit bigger than expected it to be. Maybe we don't know this, right? That whether or not the weapon maintenance system was like a spontaneous addition or not. We don't really know that, but a big part of me kind of thinks it was, that it kind of came up as they were making the update. And I think maybe they now have a bit more of respect for that update, like themselves. I don't think it was planned to be as big as it was, actually. I think it was going to be fairly like much smaller. Not much smaller, maybe cut about a quarter or a third off of what it was probably what the original was going to be, in my opinion, because we know how they are. They kind of just get carried away. And as far as we know, the first maintenance update was essentially made in a bubble where they just sat down for like 2 weeks and just cranked it out without even like really planning it, which is actually kind of cool. Like, I think that's kind of cool for those updates, not for seasons, but so far we've already heard a couple things about the next maintenance update. Yeah, you could just say, and I'll just pause it.
Yeah, got to pause. That was my hidden code. You paused it?
No.
Oh, you sneaky boy.
Why don't you go? I need to go. Go. Sorry, everyone. Go!
My shoes are here. Why? Are you just going to talk?
No.
Then why are you waiting on pause?
Holy shit, leave. All right, now he's gone. I just wanted to say, actually, I guess it's my chance to do this. I've been practicing like singing in a dwarf voice. So it's like Metallica's One. I think a lot of people already know the segment where it's like darkness encircling me, and I can do it. I can kind of do it as a dwarf. Hold on. hello. Darkness encircling me. All that I see, absolute horror. I cannot live. I cannot die. That's So yeah, there's that. I can also do Tiptoe Through the Tulips as well. It's like Tiptoe Through the Tulips has like this wavering voice thing. It's like, oh, tiptoe through the tulips, the window. I thought, could I do that as a dwarf? Maybe. It's like, tiptoe through the tulips by the window. So yeah, there's that. I'm gonna pause it. I'm sorry. We'll see you back when Tyler's back with us. Restarts.
Yeah,
he said restarts when it's
starting it.
Tyler doesn't know that I sung "Tiptoe Through the Tulips" as a dwarf when he was gone.
It's true. I don't, and I still don't know if he did or not.
I did.
I feel like he might be lying right now.
I did though. Okay. I did. Okay. I did that.
Yeah. So basically, I don't know. The anniversary stream. We can expect.
I guess we're doing this now. I guess we're.
Yeah. What else is there to talk about?
Everything else.
The publishing stuff. Those games are coming out soon, right? Date.
Well, okay. I guess we can do that then. Thank God. So yeah, well, 2 of them are launching very soon. 2 of them will have launched before the anniversary stream happens. Which is Survivor and Spell Rogue. One of which is of a lot more interest to me than the other, and not just because it's Deep Rock.
To most people, I think.
Yeah, Spell I know. It's kind of weird, isn't it? It's around. It's the one that's going to have to win people over, isn't it? Like Survivor's already got everyone on board pretty much. Literally said in the taster description, it said on the Steam post about this. It said it's like for like fans of Vampire Survivors and Brotato.
Yeah, because I mean, Brotato is a Vampire Survivor like. I don't know what they're called.
Survivor like,
and I do
Survivor like.
I don't really like Vampire Survivor, but I am a fan of Brotato. That came out on Game Pass recently, and I've been playing that a fair bit. Not constantly, because those games I can only really enjoy like a couple times because it's I don't know.
I think
It
it's because your
has
dopamine receptors don't work, so you have to like have something new all the time, so you can't play repetitive games. You can't as much.
I don't think that makes sense.
I think it makes perfect
Um,
sense.
okay, but yeah, I think Forge Survivor probably won't play it much, but I think it's going to be a valid game. But Spellrogue has the problem of looking like so many other games.
It
Like
really just
that's the
doesn't.
this
It really just doesn't
it's the
stand out, does
card
it?
dice game, isn't it? Like it's like it. Yeah, I don't know it.
Like
Um,
Survivor looks pretty good, like because it is stylized slightly differently, but it still looks like a DLG Survivor like. It does look
yeah,
like that, but it also looks it also doesn't look exactly like Deep Rock either though. It's actually really interesting. Like it looks pretty like good. Honestly, I'm probably gonna play it like a fair amount if assuming that I can like tweak the settings. As long as I can like make it a little bit less demanding, I should be able to run it perfectly on my shitty ass laptop. Because it was
yeah.
pretty close already. It wasn't. It was actually close enough where it was playable, but I'd like it to be like perfect, and it was close to it. So if I can do that, I'll
Yeah,
definitely
and I
play it because it was
think
pretty
on
fun. I
my
think it's actually pretty well designed, just as a game. I
yeah,
didn't mind it. I wonder how similar it's gonna be to Road Core though, because it's like literally it is like a
pretty
5-stage deep dive type thing. That's like how this game
yeah.
is structured. It's just like hmm. But yeah, Survivor is going to be pretty cool. Although I'd say probably not going to be any crossover between that one and Deep Rock. At least not in the same way as there is between Road Core and
Yeah.
Deep Rock.
Um,
Because, you know,
I
the
mean,
thing
like,
about Survivor is Survivor's got like a bunch of new overclocks and shit, like random stuff. Like, for example, the boom
yeah,
stick is something I already saw where it's got um like an overclock that doubles its magazine size, or make an overclock that just makes it deal like cryo damage. They got like loads of new weapons that they just threw in there, and I think that's because Survivor is much. It's supposed to be less attached. I think
easier.
they just gave them free reign, so you really
Yeah,
shouldn't expect
yeah,
those things to be added to Deep Rock. Obviously that's a different story with
yeah.
Road Core, kind of.
But
I mean,
I do hope that there is some kind of thread, as in, if only just like they're not willing to do crossovers with like other games, right? That people keep asking them to, oh, you should cross over with Halo or For the King or so on and so forth. No one asked for the King, I don't think, but you get the point. Um, And they're like, no, we don't really want to do that. We don't want to compromise our universe or some bullshit like that, right? Which is like fine, whatever. But if you did a crossover with something in your universe, right? Like if there's something essentially is there's something in um like Survivor, like it's Survivor's own thing. And I'm not talking like a gun or an overclock. I'm maybe thinking like a cool cosmetic that only Survivor has, or some bullshit like
I'm
that,
not even
right? A
sure
cool
Survivor
enemy that only Survivor
has.
has.
Well, yeah, enemies
Um,
perhaps. I mean, I don't think Survivor
but
even
like
has customization though in that way. I don't think-
yeah, I know. I don't know either. They might now. I don't know, but um, there's something that only Survivor has, which like it is like a collab between those games. That would be cool, right? Because then I don't know. You can kind of like because what is occurring essentially is they're starting to build up a bit of a network of Deep Rock Galactic games, which is kind of funny. Because we could be looking at like in 10 years' time, there's going to be like 5 to 6 different IPs of the Deep Rock Galactic universe, and they're all going to be like different game genres.
I mean, is there
And
a
it'd be cool if
specific
there is
one?
like
Is there a
like
specific
through
one that
lines.
you'd want? I actually can't think of like a resource like a mining clicker game. Is what I can imagine. Where you like play
An
as the
arc like
corporation. You play as the corporate. Like you play as DRG, like mining hoxies. So it's like a strategy game where like the enemy is the planet, and you just send like
pretty.
units down, and like it's like you send like a team down, and then like basically the game runs calculations of how well that team would do in whatever mission it is, and like things like that. It's like this weird like stat like numbers based thing. I don't know. That's what
Yeah, yeah.
it's not even that. I just thought of that. That's not what I want necessarily.
Yeah, but no, this genre, this game is absolutely full of genres you could do that with. Like, because I was thinking, like, you could do like a power world or like more like an arc, right, where you go down into the caves, and the cave would be a lot more open world, but still caves, and you would be able to like tame glyphids and that, and like mount them and stuff, and you'd be able to tame all the creatures down there, right?
That
People
would
would
be
love
like
that.
I imagine that being like an early that would be like an early days Deep Rock game, where it's like when they first hired the dwarves, so it could be like its own sort of faction of dwarves where they're not equipped. Like DLG basically hired them but didn't give them anything. So they're just sent down. It's like the first wave of dwarves, and they're trying to like they're trying to call the Hoxies on their own terms before DLG has even tried to. Like this is before like things like Betsy and the Omen as well. This is like a very like they sent down like proto dwarves to like, and they
maybe
conquered the planet or failed to conquer the planet.
I thought like two other things is they can be like a separate faction, like still maybe part of DIG, but like just kind of like a leaf lover section essentially, or just that without really telling anyone, Deep Rock Galactic, the company basically tries different things for each rig. Right, none of them do the exact same thing. I kind of think
each
of an
rig
example
could actually be like quite a different.
Yeah,
thing.
and like we're in what rig are we in? Like 17.
Yeah,
right?
17. Yeah.
So rig 17 is what we have. Like I don't know, like cheap military tech, but maybe like rig 16 is like really advanced tech, but they don't get much of it, right? Like they get like one really advanced weapon or some shit like that. You wouldn't play that one, but the example is eventually there is a rig that tames stuff. That's what they're like spec'd into essentially, and that would be the law reason or some bullshit, right? But I was thinking, yeah, that's an example of a game you could do. I was thinking you could do a, I don't know what examples of games like factory games, factory sims, right?
So Factorio.
Kind of build.
Oh, is that what it's called? No, what was that one we played? Was it called Factorio? No, the one
no,
Tectonica.
Satisfactory.
No, Tectonica was
the one we played. That one's very similar.
Because Tectonica is that. Tyler.
Yeah, it was in. Yeah, I know.
Like the environments were so clearly inspired by Deep Rock to me. Like
it was. You were in the
like the Azure world. Yeah, exactly. It was so obvious. Yeah. I mean, this kind of speaks to like I think this speaks to like the Deep Rock greed that we talked about, where when you get really like into and attached to a game, you kind of start to want it to be everything, which is stupid. Yeah. But this is kind of a way of getting that. And the fact that it's, I mean, it seems obvious, but it's good that there hasn't been any kind of sequel type thing. Everything that we've gotten or is getting is all different genres so far. And that's what it should be, That's why I don't want a straight up sequel. I actually think this direction is interesting, where each game is going to be a different thing. We got, co-op horde shooter, Survivor Light, and roguelike so far. And I actually think this is weird. Survivor is like a single player thing, like exclusively, which I just thought was kind of odd because it's Deep Rock, I mean, I know it doesn't have to be. And I like the idea of a solo focused Deep Rock game, obviously. But I thought it was interesting that wasn't like a requirement, like almost from Ghost Ship, where it's like, it's going to be co-op, right? But I guess they just didn't. They just let them do their thing because obviously Rogue Core is a co-op focus.
Really, yeah, it's going to be. Which I guess it does kind of work with like obviously the fact that. I think Ghost Ship themselves know what they're good at, right? They know they're good at co-op focused gameplay, right? But meanwhile, this other company, I mean, I think they were fairly new, right? I don't think they'd even made anything beforehand. So they were kind of
they're essentially a baby of Ghost Ship. They're like Denmark. They're in Denmark as well. They're like using Ghost Ship's old office. It's like the younger brother or something, I guess.
Yeah, and so they're kind of getting them to make like a game in the same franchise, but a different feel to it. And the solo is a good way of looking at it. I don't know.
There's also like solo, but on the other side, because do you know what a tactics game is? That genre. A tactics game is like a strategy game. I think they can be
Halo
real.
Wars.
No. Because I think a tactics game can be real time or turn based. I think. Nope. It's it's the opposite of those things. A tactics game is where it's a strategy game, but you control like a team. And that's it. You don't have like an army or like units that you build. You have a team, and you control each member of the team in like a turn-based way.
Baldur's Gate.
Yes, Baldur's Gate is actually a tactics game. But there's lots of there's Gears of War tactics, for example. And to me, it's just like Deep Rock is almost like just set up for that perfectly with the.
I'll tell you what's probably very very similar to that. The board game. Like I would imagine the board game is probably very similar to that.
Well, I mean, I guess a Deep Rock tactics game would almost be an adaptation of the board game into a video game.
You forgot the board game, but that plays perfectly into the different genres and like.
Well, yeah, and also I think they should make a digital version of it, straight up. I think it'd be worth doing.
Probably
because I'd buy it. Like
I think there is something.
there's
Right?
a
There's
mod. Like
a
someone made a mod where you can play in Deep Rock, which is
wow.
stupid. By the way, that exists. Not that that's not a stupid thing to do. It's awesome, but I mean, but I guess there's a weird like incongruency between what modders can do and what devs can do, where it's like,
Well, the main
what is
reason
it?
is that that board game is like money, right? Like it's a lot of money, that board game, to the point where people actually, that is a very very sore spot, and probably where a fair amount of people that think Ghost Ship is greedy comes from, because
Mm.
the second part of that board game was very expensive. like like I think the board game as a whole, you could spend like £200, and I don't think you would get everything. And that's just a I guess, but I'm pretty sure it's something
Maybe.
close to that. Um, and it's kind of like, ooh, but if you can just mod it into the game for free, then it's like, oh, that's a bit cheap. But I think the appeal of the board game is obviously having it in real life, right? Being able to play it there. But there is also appeal in playing it digitally, because most people are playing stuff online nowadays, right? There's a reason why board games aren't that big anymore.
But it's like, honestly, to me, I think people like board games more than they think they do, right? I think there's a reason
Yeah.
why certain things are actually quite popular on like in digital versions, like chess and like Monopoly and stuff. People like these games, and it's just more accessible. It just means you don't have to travel, and you also have
Yeah.
like a digital system that just does all the work for you as well. It's like chess, especially. I actually think it's kind of cool that we have this stuff, because it makes things like chess so much more accessible, because you don't have to guess as much, or at
You
least
just have to look up like chess.com, and it will show you where all your possible moves are.
exactly. Or at the very least, it will stop you from doing things you can't do. Like it's like it makes it more accessible, because it means you can't. It's like much harder to break the rules in the digital versions of these games, and also you can't throttle your friends either when they fuck you over in Monopoly.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why I think
like
the
a
digital
safer
version,
environment.
exactly, the digital version of the board game is sick, because it seems very complicated as well, and I think it would be infinitely
Yeah.
more accessible in digital form. And the point is, people still like board games, and I don't
Or at
think
least,
I don't think people would just not play the board game because Deep Rock exists.
yeah. At least like they could maybe have done like the base game digitalized, if you know what I mean, like without any of the fancy DLC stuff. Like you could get the base game, play that online. Probably would still cost money, like 10, 20
Well,
quid.
exactly. It's also
Um,
how are they going to pay for it to like happen? I guess you get the Survivor devs to
Yeah.
do it once they're done with Survivor or something. Something like
Yeah,
that.
but
It's like that's what I mean. It's probably
it's
like what the logistics of actually who does that and why and how much
but
money would it
I
take.
do find it funny 'cause it's just like, I don't know, what other game has this many different games,
Oh, like already.
right?
I mean, you mean what other IP has this many genres? You mean
Yeah, I'm like,
I don't know.
exactly. I can't think of one. Yeah, like, I mean, Halo's got like the Halo main series.
Isn't like every
The
Final
off
Fantasy
ones
game like a
don't
different
count, and
genre
like
though,
Halo
or something?
Wars.
Well, Tyler,
Kind of, yeah.
it's the reason why you haven't followed it is because it's so obvious, because it's Mario. Literally every single fucking
I
genre.
guess actually.
And probably a lot of other Nintendo IPs as well. You know, it's
Yeah,
also not. I guess
Nintendo likes to
it is
out.
for definitely like even like Mario Party
Yeah.
is basically a board game. You know,
Exactly. Like what like I guess maybe Legend of Zelda as well, something like that. But they do a
but
bunch
it
of
is
different
Mario. I'm
ones.
pretty sure it is Mario at the top though. It must be. Um,
Yeah, probably, definitely.
the only thing they don't have is
But like
first-person
what?
shooter. They don't-
Yeah, but like what is um? I guess that makes Plants vs Zombies is actually pretty close. But
well, isn't Plants vs Zombies just
like
two genres?
yeah, it's the normal ones and then the shooters. But I find that funny. But it is interesting that despite Deep Rock Galactic being an indie title, indie IP, it has got like, or will have by the end of this year, assumedly, 4 different genres of games kind of like specced into.
Spec
And
into
I think there is a solid. Well, they've already become a kingpin in the
Kingpin.
horde shooter, right? Like it's definitely, if someone asks for a horde shooter, top 3 is definitely Deep Rock, right? Like it's within there somewhere.
Yeah, I think right now
Um,
people would also say Dark Tide as well. At the moment.
but yeah. And then
I'm just
probably
thinking
Left
what
4
the other
Dead
options.
2.
Whereas in Dark Tide's like
It's like a
it's the most
classic.
contemporary. Like that's the most current, I assume. which
Yeah.
is weird. Probably has more players than Deep Rock at the moment. I don't know.
Not saying much. Yeah, and then now they're going to be branching into the Survivor, which they might not. It might not go that well. I don't think it will become the king of it really. But I think it will be a very good example of it probably. And then obviously Rogue Core, which I don't know. I hope that it explodes into the roguelike stuff and does a lot of cool, unique things and becomes known.
Well, it's that's like a really weird aspect of it, isn't it? Because speaking objectively, it shouldn't. If they want it to if they want to replicate what they did with Deep Rock, it's not meant to explode straight away. And it probably won't.
Yeah.
Deep Rock did not explode. It kind of just I don't know. It was like it was going up a ramp.
Yeah.
I guess, and it got faster as the ramp got steeper for some reason. It's like, that's kind of what it is. And I guess,
Yeah, but like,
how do you replicate that, especially when they are? Well, no, they're launching it in the same state as Deep Rock, early access. They're not like launching it later in development.
But Deep Rock early access, right? That was starting from complete scratch, right? Rogue Core early access is starting with a couple million people paying attention to it, right?
Yeah.
like perfectly viable to stumble across it or want to play it like out the gate, right? And you know you can't really compare the two as long as they don't botch it really. Like if it's playable, that's all it needs to be. Not crash, online functions work, and it's probably gonna do fucking fantastic, right? Like that's I think that's all it needs. That's all they should really be aiming for, and like the base gameplay down, to where you know if you're on there you can actually do something. As long as that's down, I think it will do very very well. As long as the updates are frequent enough, like once every 2 months probably, I would imagine for a really early access game.
Oh,
That's what they used to do, right?
Yeah, well,
Like
yes,
early
kind
Deep
of.
Rock was about that.
I mean, I guess the thing you kind of need to look at is the update thing. It's like the update schedule based, not schedule, but there's like on the wiki there's like a list of I think I just get up any update. Okay, update 25 Endgame Part 1. It's like just a segment where it's like every year and it just lists the updates from each year. And it was getting really sad. I mean, honestly, it's kind of sad because for some reason the wiki doesn't give a shit about the maintenance update, which is so disingenuous to me. Which means that 2023 is just season 4. So it actually gets less and less as you go along, which is really sad. But okay, so 2018 is the ultimate one. 2018, 2019 specifically.
Year one?
Yeah, 2018 was year 1. Because you got update 7, update 8. Well, you got update 7 to 20. So there's 13 updates in 2018.
Exactly. So by the sound of that, right, Rogue Core is going to be looking at about one update per month, and if they are anything like those Deep Rock updates, they were very good considering, right?
Yeah,
like,
but it depends on if
they would add revolutionary gameplay features.
But yes, they do because they've got so much of the game to build up that it's kind of impossible for any given update to not have like a big impact because it's literally just you're literally building the game in that stage. Still, we don't know how much has like changed in terms of how much they want to exactly replicate Deep Rock because we know that
chances are
we know that they prefer bigger updates anyway. So I don't think every month or 2 months probably not quite right. I don't know.
Thing is it's almost unavoidable. That's the thing though, is the Rogue Core is going to be so easily worked on, right? Because that was the point of early Deep Rock. It was so easy for them to add so much that it just kept occurring and it was absurd. And now how long it takes for them to add the same amount of stuff, right? It's like probably double if not triple the amount of time. And so with Rogue Core, it's going to be like, all right, we're going to take our time. We're going to add as much as possible. We're going to elaborate as much as we can in this area. And then they'll do it in like a fraction of the time it would take for Deep Rock, right? Like it's kind of going to be inevitable that the updates are going to be really quick or really huge when they do it. Right?
Yeah,
like,
I'm just assuming
really frequently.
I'm just assuming it's going to be one of those two things. So when it comes around, it's just going to be like really, it's going to be weird because we just weren't paying attention to Deep Rock in the way that we are now when it was getting like way more updates. And part of me wishes we were. So I'm excited to potentially have that, for a different game. So, the point being that it's still them, not a different game. It's still Ghost Ship making a Deep Rock game. But the fact that we might be able to actually have that experience now that our frontal cortexes are fully formed and things like that, because we were. I mean, it's kind of weird. I guess people really don't think about it because, like, why would they? We were like 6 years younger than we are now when we first started playing Deep Rock. 14, 15. It's like it's disgusting. That's what it is. It's disgusting. little babies.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we had like the most important test of our lives coming up, right?
I guess that probably is the most important one.
Yeah,
but it's just like it's probably going to be so much now that we actually know what the fuck we're talking about a little bit. It's probably going to be so much more impressive to us as well. Now that we know a lot more, not everything, but a lot more about what goes into game development and how difficult it is and how difficult it gets. I can. It's almost difficult to say this because it's like you shouldn't. If you expect to be blown away, you're probably not going to be blown away. But I don't know. I just get this feeling we're probably going to be really shocked, even though we know kind of how it's going to go.
I mean,
as long as they haven't completely lost their way, and they haven't, as far as I'm concerned. So
it's like it's going to feel like with Deep Rock, right? It started at a sprint, right? With the examples mentioned earlier, they did like 15 plus updates in 1 year. Then probably the next year they probably did, if I guessed, like 10 or so.
6. It was only 6.
And then like,
but obviously like,
all right, 6.
I think this is. I think that maybe this is an aspect of possibly trying to predict what like the early access cycle is like for them and if it's going to happen again, because it's like, is this a case of if it's going to be the same, then would it be like for Deep Rock where the first year is the most packed year? Probably. And then so it gets a little bit, the updates get bigger and bigger because like 2019 was only 6 updates, but it's like the first one was like not huge but very impactful. It added like Betsy and Hazard 5, and then there was like the first anniversary update, and then like update 23 added like most of the enemies that we have now. Update 24 added like a lot of the grenades, like the grenades as they were before season 3. Then there was Endgame Part 1 and 2, which added like deep dives, overclocks, and machine events. And update 27 was like another update 21 where it added like things like the oppressor, the oppressor and the omen and things like that. So it's just like a bunch of like really cool updates mixed in with massive updates is what it was.
And this was within a year.
Right? That was the biggest year. I think that was the biggest year. I think the best year was still 2021.
That was year 2, right?
Yeah. I still think the best year was 2021, but that was the biggest year.
Which is year 3, right?
2021 would be year 4.
Okay.
Technically, 2018 year 1, 2019 year 2, 2020. Yeah?
Don't worry about it. So, point is, we started at a sprint, but slowly but surely, it's getting tired. Not literally. I mean more in like a, like just an example, metaphor. And they were getting more tired, and then eventually, right, they released a single thing in a year. If you looked at that chart, right, 2023.
If you're a dishonest prick,
season 4,
Tyler.
Sure, but Harry, let's be honest. They added 2 updates that year. All right, even if you're honest, it's still bad. Looking at it like that, right?
But see, like I don't know if that's true to what the cycle is necessarily, because 2023 I think will go down as the worst year. I think it will. I think it's going to be objectively better from here. I think everything's just going to feel better.
It's the worst year.
It's going to get better for Ghost Ship. I think 2023. I think they felt pretty good because that's when sort of the publishing sort of got started and things like that. But I still think for them it probably was the weirdest year, certainly, of the most change. And I think them being more comfortable was probably going to reflect on us as well, on the community. Even if they put more attention to roll call going forward, which I think will pretty much obviously be the case.
And And what I'm trying to say is that, like, even if they are slower than when they started Deep Rock, it is going to be so much quicker than it is right now, that it's going to be like heaven on earth, right? That it is going to be like ascension levels. Like, oh my god, we're getting updates from Ghost Ship every other month or every other month. Like, even if we get it once every 3 months, that's
People
4
getting
updates
like
in a year. That's
you're
insane.
probably never going to go through a period where you don't have like the road, like the first Rogue Core roadmap is probably going to be ridiculous. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Or at least I'm
and
hoping it is.
especially with
I know it's not going to be quite like how they used to do them, where they would like the older Deep Rock roadmaps from like 2018 and 2019. It would basically be like a list, and then it would start like trailing off and fading out because it's just random shit that they've thrown in there. They don't do that anymore. Where it's like they don't put things on there that they don't know they're going to do. But think about it, like the Rogue Core roadmap that exists already is pretty extensive, even though it's mostly internal stuff. So it's just going to be crazy, and it's like I guess we kind of have to get into this. Something that I want them to address on the anniversary stream is console things. And I'm talking about publishing games and Rocore, like collectively. So actually, as in, I think to give them grounds to have a conversation about console, it needs to go for more than just Rocore. Because I think there should be a conversation about Survivor and the other games getting on console as well. But the point is about Rocore on console, and not just because we're selfish bastards, which we are. But the point is, for Rocore to be truly successful, it needs to not be as standalone of a game as it could be. It needs to be very attached to Deep Rock. We talked about the fact that what we're sort of expecting or hoping, or I can't remember if they said something like this even, about how Rocore would basically be almost interchangeable with Deep Rock, right? In terms of the experience, right?
Yeah.
As in, it doesn't matter if Deep Rock's not getting an update this month because Rocore might be, and that's just as good. You can only get that. Right? You can only get that if it has the same presence across all platforms. So I think that is like a really objectively important thing to make sure, because it basically needs to feel like they're basically two halves of one like giant game that just exist in separate games.
I feel like it's like I don't know, what are those races where they pass the stick along, right? Something like that.
I don't know. Is it just called? Because like it's baton is what they pass, but what's it actually called? Baton race.
It's just like the 4-person sprint or something. But it's just like
well, it's two people going in a circle though, isn't it? It's like two. There's like one person here, one person here. They run, pass it, and then the guy runs back, I guess, and then it goes.
Yeah,
it's like nonsense.
I think if we go back to the sprinting analogy, Deep Rock is out of breath, right? It's not done. It's not out for the count, but it needs a break, and it can't carry the weight of the baton.
I think the break is. I think the break started after they finished the maintenance update, and so this is like the short break. And then they're going to go into, and then Deep Rock will take, and then Deep Rock will, like, I guess probably after the anniversary happens, then Deep Rock will take it, or like once the anniversary happens, Deep Rock will take it until season 5's done, and then it goes back to Rocore.
I think, yeah, the baton is probably less, just like it's like a really heavy backpack, right? And it's like Deep Rock has been carrying it this whole time on its own, and now this year he will be gaining a friend to help carry that weight. Because it just can't deal with it anymore. He needs a break. He's going to finish off this last bit, with the maintenance, and then season 5, and then he's going to pass it on.
Well, I feel like there's already been. I feel like there's already been that short break over the last couple months, where it's been more. They've been working on Rocore instead, and I think what it means is like in this analogy.
Deep Rock.
Well, I think in this analogy though, that means Deep Rock is just like it's going to get a burst from. Just like it's going to be a lot of positivity. If Deep Rock's a person in this analogy, it's going to have like a lot of energy built up just from that relief. It's just like, I've just been able to rest a little bit. So it's like, okay, I can give it I'll give it a shot for like a couple of months then. And then you get the next update and season 5, and then it's just like, but then it realizes how tight it actually is, and then it gets
and then it's gonna sit back. And I feel like once again, I don't know, like I would be, I don't know. I'd be fine if we didn't get a season 6 the next year if Rocore went hard, right? I think that's the thing is that
Well, that's kind of what it
I
needs to.
feel like
That's kind of what the feeling that needs to be achieved. I don't think that's actually a good
yeah,
idea, but it almost needs to feel like it would be okay.
but that's only
That's how
right
they
now.
know
It's like
they've got it right.
once we have roll call, it should be a matter of I don't care which one gets an update, right? It should kind of have that feeling, right? Where it's just the same glorious gameplay from the same glorious developers. Like it doesn't really matter. And at this point, I would prefer roll call because roll call needs more stuff added to it, and they'll add more stuff to it in a
Hmm.
shorter amount of time. As long as that's kind of the sentiment, then it's like fair enough. They will never abandon Deep Rock, but I don't think they inherently need a season 6. Like they can just be doing the maintenance stuff, right? Like there's they should and probably can, probably would still do updates, but they don't have to be full giant laborious ones. Unlike Rocore, which will probably be only full of giant laborious ones, and this is something I think we need to say for another time. I'm just going to mention it so I said it. Rocore and seasons,
Mm.
but
You
I'm
mean,
going to
so what
leave it there.
you mean road core
I mean,
seasons?
will Rocore have seasons? Will they not?
Well, we don't have to
When will
not
they
talk
have
about
seasons?
that, but at the same time, is that the kind of thing we'd expect from
think
the anniversary stream? No, I don't think so.
maybe,
I don't
maybe
think
not,
they would get
but,
into
I'm
that
thinking
yet.
like
I don't think they would.
this
I
is probably a
honestly don't
conversation
think they're going to
for
do that.
after season 5.
You're right.
Um,
You're right.
that's what I'm thinking.
But if I were to give
Is
like
when it comes
I don't know, not
an early
dissertation. I would say, no. I would say, but at some point though, it might. I expect it to be
they
quite similar
might
to
wait
Deep Rock.
until launch.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Well, that's the difference. That's the difference between. I think that's something they're probably going to want to correct, right? Because Deep Rock goes early access, then launch, then seasons later than that. I think Rokor's going to go early access, launch, and seasons start at the same time. Like
because that was
seasons
kind
start
of
on
that
launch.
was just Ghost Ship being Ghost Ship, and they kind of launched, and then they were like, now what? And then they kind of just kind
Yeah.
of
Because the
added
point of
stuff, and that stuff they added was still good.
yes,
But
it was. It was
a bit
really
more
great actually.
direction.
But the point of seasons, what seasons did, they changed it so that it gave them a quota basically. And I think they don't want that for early access. They don't want to have to deliver content in that type of way in early access. But I think as soon as they're out of it, I think it would be sort of like a very business oriented thing where it's like as soon as we're out of early access, we need to have it be like a a live service game, like a cycle, and that's sort of what they should get into. And I don't know what that means for. I don't know. That's too far ahead. This is sort of stuff I'd expect them to talk about their next anniversary. This is sort of almost
exactly.
Um,
Like that's why I think it's probably too much for now. But I would like to start thinking about the pros and cons of that. But probably when that's like the only thing left to talk about, essentially, when Deep Rock Galactic, the base horde shooter game, is on like sabbatical. I don't know what another word for it is, but like once season 5 has come out and they've done the patches, and we know that they're not touching Deep Rock until Rocore is out and is doing stuff, right? Like once that's like during that period of time is when I want to talk about Rocore in that regard. But for now, I don't know. It's good, but it's scary. The future of Deep Rock, because it's still kind of like there wasn't really any harm if you just continued adding good updates to Deep Rock, right? If they
there was no
continued making
harm.
seasons and they were good, like the game would still probably be doing all right. But they're taking a risk, and not even like, really just a risk, but just like a risk reward, where this is a reward for themselves. They want to do this. They think this is going to be a good idea. They will enjoy it, and the game just roll call needs to just come out already. that's the thing. Like, come on, like.
Well,
that's
this
like
is
the
why
next
I
step,
think
really.
this is why we need to talk about something that's not as set in stone, which is why we need to talk about it as a possibility and whether or not it would be okay. So I think we both, in one of the more recent dev streams, we both heard something that sort of I think made our ears prick up a little bit, which was when a mention of the March maintenance update, but it wasn't called that, was it? It was called something else.
Yeah.
It was referred to as the
changed the
it was
name.
referred to as the spring update, right? And then I have to bring this up. I haven't wanted to bring it up, but I have to bring this up now. I heard something else that, if I heard correctly, I don't like very much, which was the idea of I think they were talking about season 5 and Rogue Core, and there was a sentence about them coming out at the same time, right? And now, what I'm saying about that is, first of all, I can mishear things. Second of all, I don't think if that was the case, that would I don't think that would come out of a dev stream. I just don't believe it. You know, that's too much. But I want to bring this up, just the possibility of delays, like across the board, because frankly, they laid out a lot in that last roadmap that I'd be surprised if it was all when it says it's going to be, right? And that's why the spring update thing doesn't surprise me, right? And I'm almost impressed that the maintenance update was as on the point as it was, you know, the first one.
Yeah. Well, we got it literally like the last day of November.
Yeah, but it did come out like slap bang in the middle of November. Like that's when it actually came out, and that's like that's exactly when it should have come out, you know.
Yeah, but I think. Right, if this is to be taken as anything, and I do think it's worth talking about, even if it isn't like
that's what I mean. I think it is worth talking about.
The fact that because I think because this is something we both heard,
and it's something that we would get clarification on, right? Because of a roadmap
during the anniversary,
almost definitely being shown, it would tell us this stuff.
Readjusted, more realistic now. Briefing at the anniversary is very likely if this is the case, but the spring update, previously the March update, definitely implies that, well, technically it could imply we get it earlier, right? Is that possible or not?
I wouldn't say so, because you know,
when spring?
Well, spring it's March, right? It's not before March,
right? Yeah, so
I'll say
you
that
can't
much.
get any earlier than that.
And as far as we know, but they've already talked about things that could be going in the maintenance update, right? And this is actually kind of a cool thing, right? They said, because something that I think the next one really needs to add, because I think this is the main thing that was missing from the first one, or the main thing that's missing in terms of something that Deep Rock hasn't gotten for a while but needs. It's just something tangible, right? Just a tangible addition, and that could come in any form. Just literally just something you can see. And they said something about something that they're adding to the space rig or something. It's what we heard. Like this, and that's whatever it is. Maybe some kind of new terminal. I have no idea what function it could serve. It could be something silly even, but just something tangible will do them a lot of favours. But yeah, we don't know exactly when it could be, but it's also not, you know, restricted from coming out when we would have expected it to come out, which would be mid-March, right? When we get the roadmap, or when we got the first roadmap, we see maintenance update November and March. It's like, okay, there'll be, you know, around the middle of those months. That could still happen, based on the spring update, right? But it also could be a little bit later.
There's something because, like, if you think about it, they said that when last month, right? If they knew that that update was looking like it was going to be delayed, it wasn't because they're working on it now and it's going to take longer, right? There's no way that they're working on the maintenance update for like 2 months, right? I don't think that's occurring, and they realize it's going to be later. I think what's probably more likely is that they're just kind of putting it off for longer. Like, it's not taking longer, or I mean, that's the option. It's either taking longer because they're doing way more than they thought they would in fairly classic Ghost Ship style, and it's going to be really big, which would be cool, or it's because they're just doing other things for like while they want to, right? Like while they can, because they can kind of get away with it. Which, if that's the case, then I think we can start expecting, like, so then what are they working on? Which could lead into the second thing you mentioned, which is even more alleged than the spring stuff.
Yeah, it's much more.
The season 5 correlation with Rogue Core launch, and now I think first of all, season 5 and Rogue Core will definitely not launch at the same time. There could not be a worse thing
so
to
there's
do. Right?
I was going to bring that up when I had the chance. To, like, that's a ridiculous notion. Just thinking about this, just thinking about the technicality of that. That just doesn't
Oh
sound
yeah.
even possible.
I mean, yeah,
You know,
even technically, yeah, it would be an absolute nightmare. You would have a brand new game and a season that you would have to patch and sort out at the same time. It's stupid, right? Out the
yeah, it's
gate.
just
But
not.
then also, on a marketing standpoint, right? Like having two things you want to be, it would just kill season 5, right? Because
Yeah.
let's be honest, people are gonna play road core, right? No one will play season 5. It's just dumb. So at the same time, it's stupid. Even within the same month, is stupid. But soon after, right? Season 5, and then maybe a month or two later, right after they've gotten season 5 like down and ready, Roku coming out pretty swiftly after that would be nice, right? Like maybe not even 2 months, like 3 months or so. Like they might wait enough time for season 5 to be played reasonably, right? Like 3 to 4 months. But because currently as it stands is November, right? Like
For
the
road core,
thingy tends to come out.
yes.
Yeah, for Rogor. And thingy season 5s and 10s on like June, right? Is that right?
Yep. So, well, that's the. This is
And
like
June.
the big idea of how long is acceptable. You know, when it's like
Yeah.
well, because
And June
the
is the
current
what month
plan,
of the year?
the current
Like,
plan, like, is for it to be a year from season 4. And my opinion is, it's not coming up. It's not going to be earlier than that. So it's either just going to be season 5 will either be a year after season 4 or more. Those are the only two options. And I
well,
just don't know
Harry,
if
I
the
think you're
community
wrong.
can hand. You think? Oh, you think it's going to be earlier? You think it's going to be?
I think there is no reason why it can't be earlier if it's happened quicker, right?
Yeah.
Like, like if it is going quicker than even they thought, they're not going to delay the release, right?
Well, I mean, I'll
And
say
I
this
think they're
much: if they want to bundle the next maintenance update in season 5 together, I would not stop them. If they
yeah,
want to
that too.
fold them
It would
together.
be fair.
Well, no, because Tyler,
But
listen, season 5 is not going to be earlier, and the maintenance update is going to be later if they're not getting merged, right? That's not gonna. That doesn't make sense. And
yeah,
also, if
it's
one's
fair.
in my
No,
opinion,
I
also,
don't.
if one's getting actually delayed, the other one's getting delayed as well. I just think that's a given. Personally, do I think
Yes,
that?
but if they're getting delayed, what for? Right? Is it
Yeah.
taking longer than they thought? Because if so, stupid, right? And or if so, I would say stop working on row core and start working on deep rock. Like that is the next things you should be doing, right? You shouldn't be delaying deep rock for road core right now, right? Obviously, even vaguely, but like they right now know that they're delaying stuff, or they're at least delaying the maintenance update, even though they're probably not even working on it right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, or they're only lightly working on it with like a couple of people, right? They're still probably working on mainly rogue core. So it just kind of doesn't make sense. Like, why are you delaying something that you know you could put more effort into and get out quicker? It's a bit odd.
Yeah.
Unless they're putting more into rogue core now, so they can get it done quicker, right? And so yeah, maybe it would then delay the maintenance update, but maybe it wouldn't delay season 5, and then maybe roll call would come out sooner. Is my good faith interpretation, but even then, I don't think they're at liberty to be delaying anything. Like, I,
Well,
I'm sorry, but
yeah,
like,
you're right. But the point is, the road they are very very transparent about the fact that you should not take the roadmap for granted ever.
yeah,
But
but they should know
it
that
doesn't mean it's
people
going to
are.
go down well. It doesn't.
Yeah,
And I'm not
yeah,
saying it's not
we
justified.
know.
It might be. This is the problem. The problem is it could. If there are any delays that are going to happen, they could be objectively justified, right? Objectively. But that doesn't
Yeah,
mean they will be responded to in that way. It doesn't matter if you literally had to do this. I think there is an like I used the term earlier, and I think people sometimes it's a bit of a weird word to use, but I think people understand like because it is correct. It's it's a word with more than one meaning. There's an edginess that would really be well, I guess because it's when you're on an edge, basically, that could easily be tipped over. I don't think people are as sympathetic towards Ghost Ship as they used to be. Just on average, right? So I think like
yeah,
things like that are. I don't think we're in a time. I don't think we're in an era of Ghost Ships development career where people are just going to let things slide because they love them that much. I think we're actually
Yeah.
past that. I think we're at the
Even
point
the
where
common
I think we're
person
at
is gonna
the
be quite
I think we're at the
critical now.
point where good things are going to be responded to very well, but bad things are just going to do more damage than they used to as well. I think we're in a state of extremes, and I think they need to just come out with something good if possible. And I think that's what we need to talk about. We haven't talked about yet is the anniversary and what else there could be tied to it, because there was a mention of something extra, you know, and it doesn't surprise me, frankly. I feel like after the last one, you know, like the fourth one, right? The one before last year was like nothing, right? But you know, the year 5 one was kind of huge, right? Coming out with I think just the absurdity of the decor first of all, but also, you know, coming out with the DLC and things like that. They're probably in a position where they don't feel like they can not do. They probably feel like they have to do something, and that's probably correct. No idea what that could be, though. Probably, I would say definitely not a DLC. I think that would probably be crazy,
Yeah,
but at the same time, maybe they need one to make some money. I don't know.
no.
No,
Yeah, but no.
no.
Like, don't feed into people that think they're greedy. Just like I don't know. Like I don't know. I feel like their updates in this period of time should be more political than like anything, right?
Political.
Like what is what is the smartest, like most player friendly decisions to make? Which is why I think delaying stuff is off the table, right? Like or at least delaying deep rock stuff is off the table. I think you can delay roll call. Do you want to know why? Because no one has Rokor, right? No
Yes,
one's playing Rokor
and it sounds
wanting more
obvious.
Rokor.
It sounds
Right?
obvious, but it
Yeah,
also, I think it needs to be said still. You know,
yeah,
I think it's only obvious once it's been said. And it's something that Ghost. We know what Ghost Ship are like. They are definitely not thinking about that. We know how they are. You know, think about the weapons. You know, like making Gen 3, how they basically still feel like that was yesterday. It's probably not quite the case anymore. That was a while ago they said that. But think about it. They have Rokor, and you know how they are. They probably can't think about it outside of that. You know, they struggle with
yeah.
that.
They're probably like, oh, people really want this. Like they really want this in their hands right now. It's like people don't know what they're missing right now, right? Focus on the stuff that they know they want more of. I would say, which is why the maintenance update is the only thing where I'm like, you could delay that for a good reason, right? It's like preferably I would like to know that reason. That would be
Well,
nice, a bit of communication,
mm,
but but like you could delay that and it would be kind of fair, like you, because the reason could easily be this is not actually doable when we thought it was, right? We were wrong with the initial roadmap. It was never going to make sense. That would be fine, right? Or we could say this is taking longer than we thought. That would be fine. It would be fine as long as they explain it. They probably won't because they're terrible at that, but that's not the point. The point is um, season 5 has to come out in June. like, like preferably earlier, right? Let's look at ourselves. Any earlier would be a
I,
doll, right?
it would be,
That's
but
bonus
I'm
point.
kind of at the point where no, because I would have said that like when Roku was announced, like, you know, in October, I would have said that. I think I'm at the point now. Now that
Yeah.
we're in February of this year, I'm at the point where I'm okay with it launching in June. I'm very, very okay with that at this point. Doesn't mean I don't think there should have been a very different approach to just this entire year. I might think that. But at the same time, at the point of assuming it is going to launch when it said it's going to launch, which would be, you know, in 4 months, I'm fine now. You know, I'm not like clamoring. I'm not clamoring it for it to be earlier right now.
Yeah, but the main reason because that is because even you have managed to push yourself away from Deep Rock mostly, right? Like, even you're not playing it as much as you used to. Like for most people, their desire for the game has met with how much desire they're getting back, right? Like if there's not enough food in the area, you'll slowly just stop getting as hungry, right? I
Yeah.
think that's probably something. Like like we
Well,
people don't really need that much more deep rock because they've already stopped paying attention to deep rock, right? Like so it's like, there's no rush, but do not be the only thing people hear about Deep Rock is that the season that they are vaguely looking forward to but ultimately trying to forget is being delayed, right? You don't want the only thing people coming back to Deep Rock for is hearing about that thing that they want is being delayed. That would be nightmarish.
Yeah,
like that would be
yeah,
bad. And if you hear about that, it will be in the anniversary stream. If we want to tie it back to the main thing, in the anniversary stream, we're probably going to get an updated roadmap. And if we see it later than June, uh-oh. uh-oh.
yeah.
Why are you doing that? And the only way that I think people would be okay with it is if roll core is closer, right? Even though I do still think that Deep Rock is a priority right now and roll core can be delayed, if we at least see that we're getting something positive out of the delays, it really will soften the edge, right? Like, it would be too bad. But
Yeah, because I don't know where I'm at on like how sympathetic we should be to Ghost Ship anyway. Because
I don't think we need to be
no
sympathetic.
no no
I don't
because
think they're needing their sympathy. Like,
well
and they're
okay,
paying for the mistakes they made.
what I don't know is how mean are we supposed to be, right? Because they do say things sometimes like, oh, not even say things. It's like you could just go back to the original announcement in October, and it'd be like, oh yeah, like these things are happening. Like season 5 and season 6, these things are happening. Yeah, not as quick as you would like, and not as quick as we would like either. And it's just like a big part of me is just like,
And why?
I don't really want to hear that, to be honest. Like it sounds. This is going to be very, very entitled, but for me, it's getting to the point where they just you can't just no more bad news. You just can't do it. I'm sorry, you just can't. You need to be coming out with good stuff. You just need to. I don't actually care what the feelings are at the studio at the moment
What?
because I'm sure it's worse for the community. So listen. Also,
At the very least,
I
it's
love
like-
I love straw manning. By the way, I love straw manning because I know that there's people out there who are like, you're not entitled to like more Deep Rock. Fuck you. We are. I paid for the game. I paid for every fucking DLC. Right? I'm actually really sick of pretending like the player base don't make Deep Rock. They're like, it's like Ghost Ship are at like liberty to do whatever they want. No, they owe the community a lot, frankly. And I think they would agree with me. They owe not us. They owe.
That's why they're not happy with the stuff
They
as
owe
well.
all of us, not me and Tyler. They owe everyone their best work.
Yeah.
Their best. So
And I think that and like if because we're not going to say that they're not fulfilling that because that's what I think and that's what we think.
Well, Tyler,
that's what I think
there's a
Ghost Ship
difference.
thinks Roadcore is.
There's a difference between
That's what
trying
I
your
think-
best and doing your best, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think 2023, they were still trying their best, but it was their worst still.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they weren't trying as hard as usual. It doesn't.
They did. We were not on the same wavelength. We being community,
Yeah.
and like them being, like when they.
Well, we
when they
weren't.
gave us
We weren't
Deep Rock news,
until the maintenance update, and then we were all of a sudden.
essentially. But it took it right. Like them announcing Road Core in the Deep Rock news thing on that stream was the moment where their dissonance was the most clear, right? Like nobody wanted that
Yeah.
at that point in time, right? They had gave us a thoroughly disappointing season, which I don't think they've ever addressed, right? Have they ever actually admitted that season kind of sucked? Because everyone else knows it. It wouldn't
No,
be that
I don't
crazy
think they
for them
have.
to say so.
So, do you think they
right
need to do
now,
that
as far as it's
because?
concerned, yeah, I do. Because if they don't address it, it's almost them inadvertently saying, "Well, we actually kind of liked it." Like that is what silence says, right? Like
It doesn't mean that
especially when
though.
they
It says
admit
says
fault.
that, but it doesn't mean that, right? I should point out.
But like, that's the thing is, even if they don't think that, their silence implies it, and they're
Yeah.
choosing to be silent.
Yeah.
Because they are so kind of annoyingly stupid with silence. They always pick
Yeah.
the worst times.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And I'm not gonna.
Like-
What was it? I actually, it's not going to happen again, right? Because I was thinking about the maintenance update thing, like in the last on the Horizon stream. By the way, I'm actually a big fan of the idea of them doing that stream every year as well as the anniversary stream,
yeah.
like a stream later in the year. I actually really like that. But like streams with Mickle in them are cool. But when it's because obviously we didn't let up on the fact that it was dumb how much they ignored the maintenance updates in that stream. I don't think that's going to happen this time because it's literally like the next update to the game. I literally don't think it's going to happen.
And they made a sizably big deal about it when they were actually releasing it. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, this is what I mean. This was
they didn't shadow at it.
This is the point. Yeah. This is the point that I was getting to when you had to go. I kind of didn't actually get to where I was going with it. Obviously that was a while ago. That's about an hour ago now. But that was actually not quite an hour. But where I was going with that is, I think they probably do. I think they respect the maintenance updates more than they did anyway. Like you were saying, they needed to show them the respect they deserve. I think that one blew out a bit to be a bit bigger than they thought it would be. And it's like, oh, these updates can be like substantial. This isn't just bug fixes, you know. So
and plus, once again, and I'm not sure they've specifically said it, but there is a very, very obvious community adore, right? Like when they announced all that,
community
and they
adore.
revealed it, what happened? The community cheered. Even Axis Chronos was like, "Good job, guys!" Right? like,
I guess, yeah.
Like that guy, every time they release anything, he bitches and moans, and we do too. But it's my point that you have someone that criticizes basically everything, but in all fairness, often, not always, deserves it, right? Like season 3 and 4. But you finally released something that was good, right? And that even someone like him could agree that it was good and that it added really good things. It helps that it added his idea, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like, have they said that they know they nailed the maintenance update? Right? Like,
no, what we need to do,
assume
they should like do like a team poll, like a ghost ship poll, like internally, like what was better between season 4 and the maintenance update. It's like,
and then they need to tell the community that they agree that for some reason the maintenance update, which they spent like 2 months on, was better than the season they spent.
Not 2 months. It's okay. So I don't think it's actually 2 weeks, but it's closer to 2 weeks than 2 months. It's like 3 or 4 weeks at most, I think, for the maintenance update.
Yeah,
actually.
So 3 or 4 weeks for the maintenance update, which I don't even, was it even the whole team? Was that ever said?
I think it actually. No, I think it ended up that it was, or at least it's everyone who it needed to be, right, or something like that. I think. Where it's like, obviously you didn't need. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like pretty much all like the programmers and stuff are on it, and like obviously Mike. I think Mike basically spearheaded the thing as well. I'm pretty sure because Mike's a fucking Chad.
I guess this thing, would this have been in the interview with Mike, or what was even that about? That was mainly about roll call, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But then again, he did say that they were looking at that mod for the promotions thing.
Yeah.
Come on! You don't understand how much I will suck all their dicks if they do that. You don't understand. Tyler, don't do what's this? Don't do that.
I'm sleeping my hand.
You're almost saluting. Is what you're doing.
Yeah, my arm's rested. But like,
that's the one thing. That's the one thing I want this year. I don't give a shit about perks. I do care about perks. I think that needs to happen this year as well. But I think that needs to.
I think a perk rework before the new game would make sense.
Yeah.
But I genuinely just they've not shown, like, they showed improvement with the maintenance update, right? They showed when push comes to shove, they can add exactly what the community wants, right? Yeah. Everything they did in that update was exactly what the community was asking for, right? Within their own parameters. They didn't nail everything, with some of the weapon balances not great, but even then, though, what they balanced, there were no, they still got it right.
I would say there were no missteps apart from roll control. That's like the only thing I think that was like that was wrong.
And even then, the fact that they knew roll control wasn't that well liked, right? They fucked up the details, and the same with the stubby, right? They knew that they needed to do something with the stubby. Doesn't mean they got it right, but it is the fact that they knew where the players wanted them, right? For the maintenance update. And you can definitely not say the same for season 4. Nothing they added in season 4 did players.
Yeah, want. I think season 4. I mean, I honestly,
boots maybe.
It's so obvious that we could
like how they added it.
No, not jetty boots. Fuck jetty boots. What are you talking about?
No, I meant like the actual
we
boots.
could actually do a whole episode on this, but obviously we kind of have. But I mean more of a retrospective one. But yeah, man, like season 4, you got to think about how fucking bad that makes 2023 look. The fact that was there was only one season that year. It was season 4. It didn't. Not only did it not add any major
Copy and paste.
it not only did it not add any major piece of gameplay content in sort of either equipment or mission aspects at all, not even a warning. It also didn't add any tangible content that was that's actually like in like the communities like list, I guess. You know, I mean tangible quite specifically because obviously there's things like the loadout. There's some loadout stuff like
stuff.
Yeah, like that stuff's actually is kind of pretty cool, but there's so little.
Yeah, but like
to like so little to chew on about season 4 was what people wanted.
Content, yeah, but that piece of content, it was like, you know, they that's what they have in like the patch notes at the bottom, near the bottom before it gets to the misc stuff. They all have the community requested stuff, which is where they add like the more mod stuff essentially, where it's like people's favorite mods, they'll kind of add it in their own way, which copy and pasting, that was in that area. And who would have thought that bit was the bit that people liked, because they knew that in that area was what people were asking for. The issue is that the rest of the update should also be generally what people ask for, right? It shouldn't just be the bit that players specifically requested. The whole update should be built towards players' enjoyment and like encouragement and what they kind of, you know, are looking forward to. And you didn't do that, and it didn't occur.
It was just random. It was just random shit, wasn't it? But see, the thing about
literally the randomizer.
The thing about season 5 already sounds like it's just on the right track, right? It sounds like the big. Yeah. It sounds like the big. It sounds like the big content. It sounds like the big content is also this, because it's the most important thing. Because I think you know, season 2 was only half this. Season 3, I think, obviously did add, you know, it added major additions to the content and missions, but it wasn't
not great ones.
None of it was really what was at the top of people's lists, though. And season 4 had none of it. But season 5, equipment, people wanted new overclocks for a while. Like gameplay content, it sounds like we're getting a new mission type, and if we are getting that mission type, we know that it's a much more much more simplistic one, more in the vein of my expedition, which is something that I don't think it's been like spoken a lot, but we just know from just generally, you know, like the aminosity towards like industrial sabotage and things like that shows that a mission type that brings things back to basics is really like going to be appreciated. So it tells me that season 5 is already on like a really good track.
Which
you know,
that is an that shows they can specifically say, yeah, we fucked up. like they have specifically said in reference to that and escort duty, yeah, we fucked up. Right, like they have mentioned that they ballsed it up. So it shows they can do it. They just don't always do it, and they don't do it as a whole.
And remember, like the two options, remember, are mission type or biome, and biome's just an automatic win. It doesn't even, you know, like, mission type, you need to be more careful, but obviously we know that if it's happening, it's going to be like, we know what kind of mission it'll be, but biome's just automatic, pretty much. It's like, you just can't
and I think game modes, if they get it right, it will do a lot more for the game than a biome. Which is kind of what they need to do right now. I do agree with that. Like, you know, if they don't even know when season 6 is going to be coming out, right? They're not even going to be working on the game. Adding something that has a lot higher chance of being a very permanent, very strong addition to the game is better.
And also assuming that mission type is a lock for season 5 and how long it's been like being designed for, they should be able to show like a little bit of it in the anniversary stream, even if it is a prototype thing. Like, you know, like in the big art room.
It was Tom.
It was Tom.
I didn't pick it up.
What are you going to do?
He's probably... If he calls me again, he probably wants to come round or something, which doesn't bode well, but we'll see. Actually, he's probably doing my bike. It is Saturday, isn't it? Oh, well.
It is Saturday.
Yeah. I don't know. I think... we just have to wait. That's really what like most of last year and this part of this year, and then the next.
But I do feel like I want to point out though. I feel like every time that we said, "Oh, we just gotta wait," we've never exactly known what we're waiting for. Really,
Yeah.
I think for once we do know that what we are. Every time it was like, oh, once this update comes out, maybe we're actually going to have a better sense of where things are going. I think for once we actually know that's being the case is going to be the case, because what we're waiting for is the open development that they've said that they're going to start doing for season 5. That's what we're waiting for. So we know that it's going to happen. We know what it's going to be and what it's going to look like, and it will just come down to whether or not they do it right. And we will make sure to point out if we think they're sort of slipping up again. But I think we know what we're waiting for, and what we're waiting for is also going to be good. I think though, in general, that was the last sort of bit about this anniversary is, I guess we've already kind of been over it. Just as like, if you were to put together everything we've said, you'd sort of get this outfit. But what we sort of want that stream to kind of feel like, because for me, it just needs to be a really positive one. Like, not that the last one wasn't negative technically, like last year's anniversary, but it was so like vague and ambiguously ominous, in terms of like they had barely anything to say about season 4, and it was later than we expected it to be. If there are delays, they need to be upfront, and they also need to be able to talk. And even if there aren't, the anniversary should have plenty to do with like the upcoming updates and what's going to be in them, and just talking about that stuff, and like road core, what they can share. Obviously, they'll talk about the publishing games, and there might be another weird like thing. They always do some weird shit, so we'll have to see about that. And you said we should probably do it if there is, and I said no. like the trailer competition.
Yeah.
But
I think they said they want to do it, but they don't have an idea yet. I think.
I just think the deep rock aspect needs to be much more thorough, and I don't know. It needs to be more extroverted. Actually, is what I mean. Last year felt introverted, like they were sort of just relying on the publishing and relying on like the community stuff. And I want to see basically the opposite of that, personally.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by it wasn't negative, but it really didn't feel promising either. And I want something that's just filled with like excitement, and just, even if there are delays, I just want the excitement, and just for them to be very open about what they're doing and like the cool shit that they're making, because we know they are making cool shit, but I just want them to be open about it and happy about it, so we can be as well. Basically,
have you been on the Reddit in like any time recently?
Yeah.
Like, you go on Reddit still.
I do go on the Reddit still.
So I realised I haven't been on that Order Discord in like this year easily.
It's fine. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Is it not that alive really?
It's fine.
Is there any...
It's fine. It's fine.
It's still just right.
Not much excitement though. Yeah. Surprisingly.
Obviously, what's there to be excited about? I guess the new Survivor stuff, but yeah. I don't know. I think we're probably about done here now at this point, but I think looking forward to the anniversary stream, I think it's going to be full of a lot of juice. Unlike last time, but I would also say that.
No, sorry. Last time was juiceless. I sorry. It was. There was nothing.
Last anniversary.
Yeah, last anniversary. Yeah, there was nothing to it. There really wasn't.
A really lackluster roadmap that only told us.
Yeah, that's the main thing that I think is going to change, and the main thing I want as well is the better roadmap.
Yeah. It literally just said we're getting new default base enemies, and they joked about a jetpack, which people took as not being actually a thing, but then it kind of was.
Yeah. I remember having to say apparently this is actually a joke, but then obviously it wasn't.
It wasn't quite. But then, and there was the whole overclock change of the system, but that was, just kind of timing, right? Like,
I mean, it was kind of like that was a maintenance update thing, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, you could argue it was a predecessor to that system, just the impactful small updates. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully this year it's going to be a bit more interesting. Or it's just going to have more to chew off coming out of it, really, without inherently relying on the Q&A. Like, they should be saying more without the community having to pull it out of them, because they are always more than willing, especially now, I imagine, to answer questions, right? Like, if you asked them, like what are your thoughts on season 4? They would probably say that, yeah, we know we didn't nail it. Like, they would say it. The issue is they have to always be prompted. give answers
Yes.
to that kind of stuff. And it's like you should it like for something that important, it is a good idea to show that as a company, you recognize what you did wrong on season 4 and what you did right in the maintenance update, and acknowledge that you're going to be doing a lot more right than bad, right? Like we need to just know that the game's going in a good direction. We can assume it is, right? Everything we've heard, the minimal stuff we have heard, more than normal, but still.
Pardon me.
And what the main
Everything that we've heard like indicates a good
picture.
It indicates a good direction on top of them developing a whole new game, and I think that's what's so impressive is that I am genuinely
other than the delays. It's slightly concerning, the delays, but like what's in the content sounds good, but when we're getting it is starting to be a concern. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's all we can muster up this in this dry spell.
What about what the people have to say? No, this is just some bullshit. About sort of, I want to be able to get some comments in every time, even if we got barely anything. So let's get it. From Sammy Horace 7523. Something about how the perk to walk on walls would help Driller out the most. So what class do you think would be helped the most by being able to walk on walls?
I saw that comment and I have to I didn't correct him then because I didn't want to say anything, but you couldn't be more wrong, because like Driller is the only class that can, well, that's not even fair. Most classes can walk on walls.
I would say like, Engineer arguably literally can. Driller walks in the walls.
Well, he turns the walls into a workable path.
Gunner can follow them, but he's not actually walking on them.
Gunner is it, by the way. Gunner is the only class that would benefit of walking up walls.
Even though
then he would have all of that terrain done.
Yeah, and then it would just be sort of overpowered. Yes.
He needs more vertical help, right? That's what people say. He's very vertically challenged.
Well, vertically challenged. They all are, though. They all are. Yeah. Well, I think I remember then Ghost Ship responding to an idea about a wall hanging ability, and they were like, we don't want to change like movement through like perks and stuff. There's another avenue you can go. All I'm saying
now there certainly is
a wall, like a wall climbing kit or something, is a perfect power up, right? And obviously it'll be like duration based and things like that. There'll be like
sucker cups.
Yeah, or like anti-grav shoes or something.
No, like the big plungers on your hand that goes, and then you like stick to it, and then you like whoop, whoop, and you like slowly climb up a wall. I think that's good.
Yeah. I guess that's a weird like compliment that we actually do pay to season 4, is that we actually kind of want to see more power ups, but
it implied something really good. The issue is,
like, I want it to be like a box. I want it to be like a mystery box. Like as well. I don't want it to be a bunch of different things. I like the idea of it like rolling a power up for you.
The issue is that they implied this new cool type of feature, which was cool, and then they started working on another game, which, you know what that did, right? When are we ever going to see any of that stuff again? When are we going to see them elaborate on that feature? When?
Well, to me, it should be the kind of thing that's easy to slot in, and yet, unfortunately, in season 4, it took like a major. In season 4, it took a major spot. You know, that's the problem I have with it.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the kind of thing that you should be able to slip in. It's like just like, oh, we just added an extra power up this update. Not every update, but like, you know, like every other update or something. Like, you know, I could see them adding one in the maintenance update, but they probably won't. You know, because they probably don't have a good enough idea, even though there are plenty of ideas. The ideas for power ups are the perks that couldn't be made into perks. Yeah. By the way.
But it's like, you know, they already struggle with like priority, right? Where it's like all these good things, they're like, yeah, but they're not really up there as far as priority goes.
But then they do things. I mean, season 4 specifically. Then they go and do things that. Why would they? What? How is that? How is that above any of this stuff? How is that above any of the things that
rework?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like.
How did anything in season 4 beat out a perk overhaul? You know?
It was absurd. It was simply absurd, and it showed that they had a clear misplace of priorities. But the maintenance update, and from what we're hearing of the future updates, it seems like they're having a better grasp on it again. They're getting more in touch with what the community actually wants, rather than just the random stuff they felt like adding. It really feels like they were like, what could we add? So, a random drink? Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
About we finally add the jet boots, or like jetpack that everyone wants. It's like,
I
all
mean,
right, how do we
there
add
is
that?
a slightly cool aspect to that being an old perk that they managed to like actually integrate, like an old perk idea that was like cut and was like this doesn't work, and they found a way to make it work. I do think there's a cool aspect to that,
Sure,
slightly.
but like, it's still, it's like the only thing, and you never fucking find it. Like, seriously, I mean, I barely play the
Yeah, I
game, but
mean
I
the
haven't gotten
implementation of that as
the
well was just like, guys, there's got to be a way. Like, I mean, fuck, I don't know if you're still with me on this. There should have been an anomaly attached to it as well. There should have been a jet boots anomaly or something like that. I mean, I know it's kind of like weird because like it kind of conflicts with low gravity a little bit, but it still would have been something like really like tangible and would have actually changed. Not it wouldn't change season 4 as a whole, but it would have done something. I think to see a new anomaly.
As much as I would like to see it more anyway, my main thing is that the 1 in 100 game where I actually find it, it's at the very end. And it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's weird. That's never happened to me though. I mean, but
well, the very end, but it's on the later half, and it's like, congrats. What's the bloody point, right? Like, it's just, I think if it's in the cave, it should be in spawn room. Just guaranteed. Like, if it's there, this mission is going to be a Jetty Boots mission from the get go. And I don't know. That's my thoughts on Jetty Boots. That they've changed it or anything. They haven't changed randomizer. It seems like these are just going to be 2 pieces of content which are just going to be there.
I'd rather they move on from them though, personally.
Yeah. Well, you would rather that they added more to the Jetty Boots system of that box, but yeah, the randomizer not much. And it's kind of annoying that they touched beers yet left all the daily specials in how ancient of a state and technically lying / broken of a state they're in. Like, it's just, I don't know. There's so much stuff they can do, and now they can't do it, or all of it at least, right? With seasons being so gradual, which is why I hope the maintenance stuff it continues to be a thing, because then there's a chance, right? Then we can actually expect maybe more stuff in the superpower box catalog, right? Easy if we get maintenance as well.
Yeah, time dilation.
But I don't know. I think we will know a lot more with the anniversary, which is why I'm not sure if they're going hush hush, but they probably like it being a little bit more hush going into the anniversary, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of annoying, but I'm kind of expecting total silence until then.
Yeah,
which is a bit frustrating.
I think, yeah, and I don't know. And we've also not heard about the like award, like a thing, right? I feel like we would have heard about it by now. Like, it's at the end of this month, isn't it?
Yeah, I forgot to mention this actually. When we were sort of belittling them for their poor communication, was that because the anniversary schedule. Yeah, I think the schedule. I need to be more specific about this, but I believe the anniversary schedule was out like already by this point.
And wasn't it really even delayed last year? Like, it was like after the anniversary was when all of this.
Yeah, the stream was like on like the 1st of March or something. Because I can't remember if it's the schedule or just the okay. So the announcement of the anniversary and the DLC. So this was basically announcing, obviously, that it will happen. But also announced the DLG Legacy thing and the Support 2 upgrade. This was on the 2nd of February last year. It's the 10th today, by the way. It's the 10th. So that's something. It should have been. Yeah, I don't know. Just weird things like that.
Well, I mean, they were already delayed with the thingy one as well.
Yeah, maybe it'd be right after.
Gone, then I guess he's probably working on it now, right? Like, maybe next week would be reasonable, but at this point, it would be unreasonable to ask the community to do something special. Because when did they announce that? Right?
Oh, that's a good question, actually.
That was
before that. It was on January 27th. Yeah.
Yeah, like at this point, it's like, what can you really expect people to do in how little time you're going to give them at this point? So, like, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they'll scale it towards that, and the point of it will be that it's like really short or something.
More than singing,
but yeah. But I don't know. They welcome back, Aaron. I guess get to work. That I said it in that way on purpose, but it
Yeah.
is like everything's being, delayed. It feels, and it's like this year. This is supposed to be the redemption arc year. What's going on here? Then? We've already had an event so far, and it feels like that barely just happened. Like they just about put out the event.
That's not bad.
Obviously, they didn't. They had plenty of time, but I don't know. I think that's enough. Unless there's another comment.
Yeah, thank you, Horace. No, there's more. Thank you, Horace. Don't know how we got that much out of it. So this is from this is from the Yellow Jacket paint job showcase. By the way, there should be the Cobalt Crackle one should happen pretty soon. I don't know how soon though. From KFM6901, this paint job ain't bad, but the problem is that there's no armor paint job that matches with it. You're damn right. You're damn fucking right. This is a major, because I look over my dwarf sometimes and I think, damn, you can make some pretty good looking fellas, right? And and it's so obvious that the guys who make all that stuff are talented. Genuinely, I will never ever sympathize with this oversight, because frankly I don't think it's an oversight that they don't just inherently have matching paint jobs for everything, for armor and weapons, especially when they're named like platinum. Because I don't know if you remember, it was season 3 that added the platinum armor paint job, and then in that same cosmetic tree was the sleek weapon paint job, and we thought, oh, they're meant to pair together. Obviously they didn't, right? And then season 4 comes around and they have another one in the cosmetic tree that's called platinum for the weapon. So, they actually did it, and it's just not. It just doesn't match, and it's like bad, just wrong, just.
Thing is,
and
that is
the weapon maintenance thing was a perfect opportunity to do something. Like that's such a cool thing to me for getting all of the ones for a class. Is getting an armor paint job as well to go along with it. Just match it perfectly. It's just like, nah, we don't want to increase the value of the stuff we had. And it's like,
season 4 oozed just misrepresentation, misreading stuff. Because that, for example,
this was a weapon. This was a maintenance update thing though that we're going off of.
I know, but it's just kind of like example, like the platinum thing, right? People clearly complained about sleek, right? That was it, not matching platinum. So they were like, okay, we'll make a platinum that matches, and then they didn't do that. And it was kind of the same thing with the crow, like the plague doctor mask. It was like, oh, this needs a hat. It looks really silly without a hat. Give it a hat. And they're like, okay, we'll give it a hat, and then they color lock it.
We'll give it a hat, all right. But that's it.
Yeah. and they were like, eventually, finally, they gave us a blue hair color, and they put it at 10.99. You've taken the fucking piss.
I don't think that's quite. I think that's a little bit different to what we're talking about. I'm also thinking, because I think a better example from season 4 is actually the purple armor paint job, which is really good, but it still should have been exactly the same as Dark Descent. The weapon paint job. It's not. They pair, they match, but they're not exactly the same. And there's no reason for that. No one is going to get angry that you're reusing them. That's what we want, by the way. Even the DLCs, they don't exactly match. Like Megacorp's the oldest example. If you have the Megacorp armor paint job is much more black than the weapon paint job is. The weapon paint job's that very bright white primary color that the armor doesn't have, and it's like I don't get it. I just don't get it. And I think the weapon maintenance thing's a really good opportunity to do something cool there, where you get a bonus for doing all of the one class, and it's just isn't there. I consider it missing personally. So yeah, there you go. In that same vein though, I'm sorry, man. It's a Polish name. I can't read that. They say this paint job is probably the worst in the entire game. To be honest, that's in Yellow Jacket. I think we both disagree.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty ridiculous.
The lime green striped one, for the fucking weapons.
What was that?
Isn't it Jungle Fever or something?
Jungle Raid. It's orange and green.
That's the one.
The weird pattern on it.
Yeah.
Or I think it's Digital Danger or Beyond the Circuit. One of those two really old paint jobs. Just disgusting to look at. just an absolute assault on the eyes. You know, it's just an
Yeah.
like Yellow Jacket is definitely not the worst in paint job in the game. I actually think all of those are pretty decent. I think the orange one's not is probably the lesser of the four. But they're still pretty good. I really think they're okay, and I think they stand out a little. They only really stand out on close inspection, I would say. Like at a glance, they probably don't stand out too much. But when you actually look at them, like the Yellow Jacket's got like it's got like the rose pattern from like the supporter DLC, and then Cobalt Crackle's just a pretty wild one in general. They haven't really used that like texture before at all. So I think they did a pretty good job. And honestly, I've actually been like wanting to get those recently. I've been playing a little bit over the past couple of days. Motivated a bit by making these videos, though. I'll say so. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Weapon maintenance, paint jobs, not bad. Definitely not the worst in the game. Good lord. One more comment from Cataclysm. It's actually a bit of a longer one. I agree in regards to mission tweaks like reworking fuel cells in Salvage. If there's not going to be many new mission types, some tweaks on the shortcomings of current mission types to be helpful for the longevity of the game. Now, we could easily dive into a bunch of shit we've done before, but I don't think we're going to do that right now. But obviously, I think there's like a very, very high chance we are getting new mission types, but it's also that doesn't mean that they shouldn't take a look at the shortcomings of other mission types,
Yeah, maintenance updates are perfect for that, right? To make changes instead of adding new stuff.
Yeah,
they did add a fair new stuff.
Well, I think it can be.
But,
I mean, I do think that first one was really cool, but I would still personally prefer that it's more focused on old stuff, like 100%. Not like a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
As cool as it was. And I think I still think my salvage shop idea is perfect. I still think because I think the repetition of the two faces at the end is just not good design. Obviously, the big one that comes up is obviously industrial sabotage, right? But we've been through that so many times. Although I still keep forgetting what you actually had a really good idea. Oh yeah, you can fight the caretaker at the beginning. That was your idea. Or genuinely awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's genuinely sick. I'd really love to see that.
Yeah.
What?
Stop
right.
it.
Yeah. But yeah, this is something that this is something that you could see in like a maintenance update or as a side to seasons. But then I think something we haven't really thought about, because obviously we haven't gotten a season since getting a maintenance update, is whether or not that's the kind of thing that's going to be cut out of seasons now. And I guess that's just something only time will tell, whether or not, because I think it's true that seasons have more justification to go all in on what they're doing rather than focusing on that kind of stuff, because we have the maintenance updates that exist now. So I personally don't need season 5 to. Yeah. I don't need season 5 to rework escort duty, is what I'm saying.
Oh no, yeah, no. That stuff I think should be maintenance. Yeah. I think the only real thing that both maintenance and updated seasons should have is just the weapon balancing stuff. That should be like the only through line, really.
Oh yeah, I mean that's why I'm excited about season 5 for like quite a lot. It's just because it's gonna be forced. There's gonna be a lot of weapon balancing forced into it by virtue of adding new overclock. So
the overclocks is going to change up so many things. Because we never even had to think about it, right? Like we've never had them add more overclocks, right? Like if you know what I mean. Like a weapon has never been changed by adding more overclocks to it, really. Like I guess we've had it lightly with the double barrel changes and the new thing on the Hurricane, but like the radical changes in balancing that could occur with a wave of overclocks to like all weapons.
Yeah.
Like if, I don't know, the Stubby, for example, gets an extraordinarily overpowered overclock, it might actually be good, right? Like that would be insane. Like what that would do for the game.
I was sort of thinking about which weapon I was like the most excited for to get one, and I was just thinking,
Warthog, it's an interesting one.
Well, I mean, with the Warthog, it's just a walk for me though, because it's kind of like not only is it finally going to get its 6th overclock, it's kind of just going to be forced to be interesting, in my opinion. I don't see how it couldn't be, because I was thinking about it. I was like, which weapon do I feel like needs that life, that of a new overclock the most? And I was like,
I think it needs to add
not, it's like it's not the minigun, it's not the Thunderhead, and it's definitely not the sludge pump. I was thinking, honestly, not Definitely not the GK2 or the
All of them
Drac.
will get one though,
But they all
right?
will get
They don't
one.
need them, but they're gonna get them.
Well, I'm excited for the weapons that I don't like as much, like M1000. I'm actually kind of interested in what it could get, to be honest. Because I don't like it very much, so I want to see if it can be changed. Unfortunately, Tyler, there is actually more to this comment. I've heard on Steam that you can see how many promotions you have for each class in the Restore Save menu, but I've checked on Xbox and it only counts total promotions. I think mine's around 125. I haven't seen that on Xbox, by the way, even if it is just your total, just class ignorant, just all your promotions, but whatever. I don't know what that means. You can see how many promotions you've got. That's not the point. I want everyone else to see it. That's the point. But yeah, get on that now. Because frankly, I think that would be a weird addition for a season actually now as well. Kind of.
I think either way it works. Like with season 5 being a very arguable final season, like it's not, but it knows that it's like popping off and going on holiday for a while, right? Season 5 knows that it's like saying goodbye for a while, right?
I think
I would not be surprised if it added a infinite promotion edition for that future. Like I don't know. I think every season they do on Deep Rock from now on should be designed to work as the final season.
Yeah,
I think that it would be a pretty good kind of thing.
Well, I kind of want season 5 to have more of a sense of finally than finality, if you know what I mean. You know? I feel like season 4 was like
finally do all
yeah. I don't inherently need season 5 to be like the end because if it's because obviously it's gonna be better than season 4. It's like I want more of this now. I didn't want more of season 4.
Yeah.
But I might want more of season 5.
Yeah, that's another key thing. We want more of the season. That's another feeling to get out of it.
Yeah, man.
Like to look forward to the next season would be nice. I mean, we are looking forward to season 5. But
oh yeah, I already am. Yeah. Speaking of looking forward though,
to season 4.
Speaking of looking forward though, you can look forward to seeing us again at some point. Because we're going now.
Very nice segue.
No, you can look forward to next week a tier list of sorts.
You're not available like any Mondays anymore, are you? Until you're off again.
I am available this Monday.
Right, because I was thinking about doing a thing.
What would it be?
Not a clue. I was just thinking about it. I'm gonna have to think more about it. But we'll see. Bye-bye. Like and subscribe.
What I was meant to say, next Saturday we're doing a boss fights tier list, is what we're doing. I think it's been a long time coming without us realising it, is what that one is.
And I think we probably covered like all of it as well. Individual parts over the course of 2 years. So, you'd have to rummage for the answers. But yeah, no.
Well, we never rated Harold in anything. So there is that.
Much time to, I guess.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed this episode of the Battle podcast, please make sure to like, subscribe, and if you want to stay on top of everything to do with Deep Rock Galactic and Deep Rock Galactic Road Core, then click the bell as well. Point at it. Point at the thing. Hey, my lighting's gone back to normal. Or has it? Oh no, it did when I put.
Look at what it does to my lighting.
Anyway, leave your thoughts in the comments below because we need more engagement, and see you next time.